Good morning. After missing a day, we are back reviewing a hand. Um, Apologize for yesterday's, but sometimes we oversleep. So, Jack 6 of Hearts. We are in mid position. Early position player limps. This guy's playing 98% of the hands. Basically, I'm going to give him 100% of his range at this point. There's only two hands that he hasn't played. Big blind raises. Um, Big blind's playing 19, 15. 35% from the big blind. We could see 20% raise first in, or raise with previous slumpers from the big blind. He's played 29% where he's called a 2-bet. I think he's probably looking at mid 20s. I can't imagine that he's just going to limp behind with a lot of junk. Preflop raises 10. So he raises, and this guy calls. So I give him 100% of his range. I think the hands that he doesn't go to flop with, it must be like a big 3-bet or something like that. This guy, 26%. I think I'm going to scale back though. I know I said 26%, but that was call. Call the 2-bet. So he does call the 2-bet, but then his pre-flop raise stat is 4 out of 40. So 10%. So he's probably not that wide in terms of his raise. I think his raise is going to definitely be a tighter raising range. And we're approaching it probably something like that. 12%. I think 12% looks good. All right, so you can see this guy's got much better range. He's going to have his equity advantage is already apparent. Flop comes 8-4-2 with 2 diamonds. And he c-bets. His c-bet stats fairly high, 50% out of position, 75% when in position. We're going to give him top pair plus over pair. We're going to give him flush draw. I think we're going to give him gut shots. And then over cards. Do I give him all over cards? I'm going to say no. But we could give him like all of like the ace jack plus, the king queen. Maybe the middle pair as well. That's 4, ace 4. Ace 2's bottom pair. We'll give him that. That's at 82%, and that's probably sufficient. And villain calls here. So we're going to take a look here. We've got call low jack, 3 bets. Called low jack, 3 big blind, raise first in with king 4 out of the big blind. That's king 4 off. Flop went check through, and then he bet 100, bet pot, bet pot. Bet pot with bottom pair. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, fold c-bet stat. When in position, 17% out of position, 64%. He's probably calling again with the vast majority of hands that he has. I can't even say all over cards. I mean, that's all hands that are. I mean, that's 50%, and he's probably going for more. I'm going to say all of the ace x hands. Probably all of the king x hands. Probably these over pairs or these over cards. Gosh, I think that might be it. I mean, it's just a lot of hands. He has a lot of hands that he's going to call very, very loose. This guy could get a lot of value from a value hand. All right, so the queen of spades comes out. Now he checks. That I think he continues betting top pair. I'll note here though that with our hands, when we go to the turn, he probes 67% of the time, 6 out of 9, and on the river it's 2 out of 2. So it's basically if you check to him, I think he generally bets. This time he does not, but that doesn't mean he won't bet. So here I kind of feel like sets and over pairs and top pairs, we're all going to be continue betting. I think he'll freeze up with the 9, 10s, and jacks. I think middle pair is going to freeze up. Any of these weaker pairs are going to freeze up. It's possible that the flush draw just kind of checks instead of continuing to bet. So we'll get that. Same thing with the gut shot. Gut shot probably checks behind. And that's probably it. All right, and then this guy checks behind. So the hand with the king forehand, this suggests that, it's not necessarily a probe, but he's betting because he has a pair. Since he doesn't have a pair, I'm going to basically X out all of those hands and give him the no-made hands, basically. So 42%. All right, so then 10 of clubs comes out. First guy checks again. So again, I find it hard to believe that he would not bet a set or a top pair in this case. I think he could have all of those along with his ace high. So 91%. And he has a lot of just ace high hands. And then the player in position, this guy bets pot. And if we go on everything else, I'd say pot with at least a pair. Yeah, I don't have any more hands that suggest that he doesn't have a pair. So, yeah, he could have improved to a straight, could have middle pair. I don't think the bet sizing tells us anything. We saw him bet pot with the bottom pair with the king 4, bet pot twice. So, would he do it with ace high though, or like as a bluff? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say middle pair at least. That's probably the most likely hand that he somehow connected with the 10. Because if he connected with the 4 or the 2, I think he probably would have bet on the turn. That's just my feeling. But we'll be wrong, and we can adjust our notes. So villain shows pocket 5s. I didn't have pocket 5s in his range. I had 9s. I think that's probably consistent if we put in his pocket pair down here, and we go back to like the turn or the river, or the turn of the flop. Yeah, I've got bottom pair. I've got those pairs betting. I think here you still have your weak pair. Yeah, you've got all of those, and then you've got your queen of spades. Yeah, they're still in there. 10 of clubs, they're still in there. So that kind of makes sense. So let's go ahead and get this on, some notes here. So ISO raise 3 big blind, ISO raise under the gun 3 big blind in big blind with 5 spades, 5 clubs, out of position, bet 50%. I do think he bet 50%. Yep, 50%. And he checked, and then he called 100% on an 8 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 2 of clubs, queen of spades, 10 of clubs. All right, so playing against this player, I think he probably should have fired that second barrel. Folds a c-bet. I mean, he's going to have to fold a c-bet. He just can't keep calling with junk. So we saw the 5. This guy shows ace-8. So he showed an 8. Which was a middle pair, because we kind of assumed that based on his king hands, since he had a pair, that he would have fired out a bet. And he chose not to on that turn, which again just adds some uncertainty to us. So limp and call big blinds, limp under the gun and call big blinds, big B, ISO raise with ace spades, 8 clubs, in position, call 50%, check, bet 100%. So ace-8, he's got top pair there, then middle pair, and he chose not to bet. So give him credit. And he got paid with 5s. I think trend that we're starting to see, yeah, he plays a lot of cards, but I think if he bets, he's gonna have at least a pair. If we see a bluff for him, then we're gonna have to make a note of that, so that way we have it when we review more of his hands. I definitely threw off on the turn, where I assumed that he would have been betting these pairs, and maybe if not, if we said, okay, he wouldn't bet any of these pocket pairs less than that top card, then when we get to the river, wow, there's just so many more. It's just so many more. Yeah. So if you throw the 8 weak pair plus, so any pair plus, it's going to be 74% he's going to have at least a weak pair. That's underneath the middle pair. So middle pair would be tens and lowers. So I think if you have a 10x hand, you would call. I think if you have an 8x, I think it comes down to your kicker. Probably still call, because 8x is still has above that 50% of all of these hands. So like ace-8, king-8, probably just like any 8 calls. If we assume the villain's also going to be doing this with 6s, 5s, any 4, 3, and any 2. It's kind of how we would play it. So this guy plays way too many hands based on his stats. This guy, nothing too wrong. I do think he probably could have continued betting on the turn just as a bluff. That hand helps his range. I think he's going to be c-betting with the overcards. The queen connects with that. Could that get this guy to fold? Good question. Just have to see. Just have to see. His stats suggest he could fold. So he's in position, it folds 17%. Then he's going to have to dump more hands, so fold it to a turn barrel that's 33%. So he is capable of folding at this point. All right, so hopefully you enjoy the hand. If you do, then look tomorrow, and we should have another one up.